After hearing a call for unity and charity, 115 cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church entered the Sistine Chapel chanting Latin prayers on Tuesday and got down to the ritualistic business of electing the pontiff from their ranks. The conclave began 12 days after Benedict XVI became the first pope in modern times to renounce the throne of Peter. It was a period fraught with tense discussions about what kind of pope was needed for a church threatened by secularism, the scandal of clerical sex abuse and a Vatican bureaucracy stippled with corruption. The script was clear for the cardinals, and Vatican television showed the conclave's opening pageantry. They glided 2 by 2 from the Pauline Chapel in the Apostolic Palace, through the Sala Regia and into the Sistine Chapel, approached the altar and bowed before it. They took their places behind tables placed along the length of the chapel's walls, with green ritual books, red folders and folded placards with their names on them. They placed their birrettas, square, peaked crimson hats, in front of them. The cardinals, led by Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, an Italian and the senior cardinal present, collectively swore, in Latin, to maintain secrecy and obedience to the Constitution on papal transition. They also made an oath that if elected they would faithfully carry out the duties of a pope and defend the Holy See. Each then individually swore adherence with a hand on the Gospel, in a Latin accented by their native languages, German, American, Arabic, Spanish, and so on. Then the papal master of ceremonies, Monsignor Guido Moreni, pronounced the words extra omnes everyone out. Several dozen attendants, clergymen and at least 3 members of the Vatican press office left. Monsignor Moreni was then shown closing the 2 carved wooden doors, with a loud click. The procession and oaths took about an hour. After listening to a meditation pronounced by a clergyman and bidding farewell to him and Father Moreni, the princes of the church got down to business. They will write the name of their candidate on rectangular pieces of paper and tip them into a flying saucer-shaped urn, to be counted by hand and recorded by 3 cardinals chosen by lot. Only 1 round of balloting is provided for on the first day of a conclave, although Vatican officials explained that a vote is likely but not guaranteed. The cardinals can decide not to. One thing would seem predictable, that no one of the 115 cardinals present will receive 77 votes, or the required 2/3, to become pope on that first ballot. The ballots and notes will be burned in a special oven set up in the Sistine Chapel, with chemicals added to produce black or white smoke. White means the world has a pope, black that no result is reached. Black smoke is expected to arrive Tuesday towards the evening, white smoke by the end of the week. In the morning, the cardinal celebrated a mass led by Cardinal Angelo Sodano, who gave the last major public statement by a Vatican prelate before the Church's next Supreme Pontiff emerges. Street. Paul teaches that each of us must work to build up the unity of the Church, the cardinal said in his homily. All of us are therefore called to cooperate with the pastors, in particular with the successor of Peter, to obtain that unity of the Holy Church. He also spoke of the Church as charitable and evangelizing mission and prayed for the future Pope to continue to promote peace and justice around the world. The Cardinal has long been one of the most influential figures in the Vatican and the ultimate insider, serving both John Paul II and Benedict as Secretary of State. He mentioned both several times. He referred to the luminous pontificate of the beloved and venerated Pontiff Benedict XVI, to whom in this moment we renew our profound gratitude, drawing long applause from the worshippers. The number of the cardinals, but not all, clapped modestly. Benedict, now bearing the title Pope Emeritus, was at the papal summer residence in Castel Gandolfo, a nearby hill town. The cardinals have appeared divided over whether the next pope should be an outsider who would reform the Italian-dominated Curia, or Vatican bureaucracy, an internal choice who could bring change from within, or a galvanizing leader who could shore up the Church in the face of growing secularism and inroads by Protestant evangelicals. Benedict's decision to resign also was not universally welcomed in their ranks, according to news reports. Since March 4, they have spent each day meeting as a whole for formal discussions. On Monday, the last day, they heard a report on the Vatican Bank, which is facing criticism over its lack of transparency and adherence to international banking standards. The homily, closely grounded in gospel readings, was markedly different from the last such speech, which was given by Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger ahead of the 2005 conclave that chose him pope. Then, Cardinal Ratzinger delivered a sharp warning against departing from fundamental Catholic teaching, denouncing what he called a dictatorship of relativism that leaves only one's ego and desires as the ultimate measure. That showing was considered a factor in his election. Cardinal Sodano will not take part in this conclave. He is over the age limit of 80. It wasn't anything like Ratzinger's, said the Rev. Thomas Rees, the senior fellow of the Woodstock Theological Center at Georgetown University who was in Rome following the conclave. That was tough. This was more like a homily on the readings than an agenda for action. Christopher Ampelado, a church historian at Kean University in Union, BJ, suggested that Cardinal Sodano might have been issuing a plea for gentleness to the cardinals who may be looking for a pope to shake up the bureaucracy of the Vatican. It's pretty clear there's going to be a night of the long knives, he said. At the outset of the Mass, which was open to the public, the cardinals moved slowly down the central aisle of St. Peter's Basilica in pairs, the wash of crimson robes and white mitres as Gregorian chant echoed through the cavernous narrow space. They held their hands clasped in front, approached the altar, bent in reverence and parted ways to take their places. Readings took place in Swahili, Portuguese, French, Italian, English, Spanish and German. Unlike previous recent conclaves, where powerful figures like Cardinal Ratzinger loomed large, this conclave seems wide open, with a scattered field of papabili, or popables. Candidates will build up blocks of votes over succeeding grounds. 2 are scheduled in the morning and 2 in the afternoon each day. The process was set in motion on February 11th, when Benedict announced he would resign because of waning strength in his old age, unprecedented in modern times. A helicopter lifted him away from the Vatican on February 28 and took him to Castel Gandolfo, where he is to remain in seclusion for several months until returning to a convent in the Vatican. The Vatican has said none of the cardinals, who had been meeting daily to discuss the needs of the Church and the expectations of a future pope, had sought him out. Benedict's longtime personal secretary, Archbishop George Gansine, was expected to attend the Mass on Tuesday in his role as prefect of the papal household, said the Rev. Federico Lombardi, the Vatican spokesman. Benedict named Archbishop Gansine as prefect several months before announcing his resignation. Signation